Hello everybody, it's me again, Mario167100 of Plainsville, and I'm here to read you guys another Creepypasta. But you know what? This episode's going to be a little bit different. Instead of just regular gameplay just thrown inside the background while I'm reading the Creepypasta, we are actually going to have like an actual machinima inside the background while it's playing. Now, I will say that some parts will have maybe like a little bit of gameplay that relates somewhat to the Creepypasta. Maybe not, maybe will, but you know, whatever. But mostly it is going to be a machinima. And the pasta that we will be reading today is called Idle Services, a quite interesting creepypasta. Now, I will say from the jump that this creepypasta gets really not safe for work. It gets inside some really disgusting shit. But you know what? Disgusting shit actually has a purpose, not like the other crappy pastas that we read where it's like disgusting gore thrown all around. This one actually has a purpose. But you know what? Let's stop stalling. Let's get into Idle Services. April 16, 2010, Nagasaki, Japan. In the middle of the Arabian desert, a golden tower splits the clouds. Written in giant letters of brick next to it stands a sign, Idle Services. The building has been obscured from virtually all published satellite photographs, and the ones in which it is visible are too low res to distinguish any details beyond the obvious. Located behind it is a large fenced field with dozens of military fashion tents set up. There are two notable theories as to what the Secret Service actually is. The one that accepts the official explanation and expands on it by means of speculation, and the one that rejects it altogether. For you to make up your mind, first you must read the About section archived on their now defunct website. Idle Services was founded by top businessmen from several countries with the goal of creating a new source of happiness for the citizens of the world. We engineer the base for deceased idol singers and allow their light to shine on from the hereafter by a trademark state-of-the-art vocal sampling technology, bringing a smile to your face since 1999. In addition to this, they used to have an order section from which you could buy numerous CDs purportedly recorded after the respective singers' deaths, along with ones written and produced for already split up groups that were recorded in the Idle Service studios as special albums. There was much speculation as to how they actually do this. That is one of the main theories. But because the prospect of the company being what they claim it to be sounds ridiculous to many. However, if one was to inspect the timelines of the artists who they claim to have recorded, it would be difficult to not see the potential reality behind their claims. With the deceased's permission, I have done research on the last moments of singer Sayoko Ayome and unearthed a secret that was not meant to be known. In late 2009, only weeks before her early demise at the age of 19, Miss Ayomi's manager was contacted by a foreigner who wished to record her. Even more unusual of an aspect of this call was that he did not specify any songs nor what record label he represented, if any. I interviewed her manager about this, and he admitted to feeling somewhat puzzled by the oddly specific request. The foreigner wished to have Sayoko meet him alone at the Nagasaki airport. Denying this for safety reasons, her manager had convinced the man to allow her to be accompanied by security personnel at the meeting. The reason this deal was accepted to begin with was that the foreigner offered to pay more than double what would be usual for arrangements such as these. She went to meet the foreigner, accompanied by two security guards and her manager. The man that came to meet them was tall and dark, with a long brown beard, appearing Middle Eastern, although Sayoko's manager could not be certain about his nationality. He believed him to be either Saudi Arabian or Emirates. He had introduced himself as Nabah al-Jabo. He dressed in a neat gray suit and wore sunglasses throughout the meeting, somewhat to the air of both the singer and her manager. Following the meeting, Sayoko had told him that he trusted the foreigner regardless of his slightly rude behavior, and that she was willing to record at his studio. A week later, she met up again with the man, this time entering his private jet with her manager and flying out to Dubai. They embarked into the desert inside of a truck. The manager got sick and had to turn back with the guide, leaving Miss Iome alone with Nabu Al-Jabbar. He still regrets his decision, feeling that if only he stuck with her regardless of the illness, she may be still alive. Whether this is true or not, I can only speculate. What is known is that Sayoko did in fact record an entire album's worth of material at the out-of-service studios. I have heard the raw a cappella recordings myself, and can say for certain that it is her, having known her since she was a little girl. What I don't know is how she ended up in Amman, Tokyo, Hiroshima, New York, Los Angeles, Helsinki, and Amatra in pieces. December 10, 2009, Amman, Jordan. 2 trucks were inspected by police and their drivers questioned. They were later arrested on suspicions of human trafficking and murder, though mainly under circumstantial evidence. The only concrete piece of evidence that they had was a single finger propped up in a glass container within one of the trucks. This ring finger belonged to Sayoko Iome. It had been cut off while she was still alive. December 12, 2009, Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. A suspicious package arrives at junior high school, dropped off by a man who eyewitnesses said appeared European. Inside were 5 toes, all cut from the left foot of the idol singer. Again, tests reveal that she has still been alive when they were severed. December 13, 2009, Tokyo, Japan. A businessman came home to find a package wrapped in plastic in his bed. He opened it and saw, to his shock, that it contained a human nose. This too belonged to Sayoko. It couldn't be determined whether she had been alive when it was cut or not, as the tissue was too damaged, but I'm almost certain that she hadn't died yet. December 16, 2009, Hiroshima, Japan. 3 schoolgirls saw a suspicious-looking Arab carrying a large plastic bag towards one of their homes. The man broke in and the girl called the police, but he had already disappeared by the time they arrived. And what they found inside the bag was disturbing. It was a clitoris impaled on a fish hook, and a string with 2 nipples, 3 teeth, and the toes of a right foot tied to it. December 16, 2009, New York City, United States of America. A homeless man found a finger in a dumpster. Tied to it was a string with 3 teeth, a clitoris, and a lower lip. Tests showed that this also belonged to Sayoko, and that it had been cut off when she was still alive. Not only this, the clitoris and lip were from an unknown female. The method in which they had been severed was surgical in nature based on the syringes. December 17, 2009, Los Angeles, United States of America. A white van was inspected by police on suspicion of drug smuggling, only to find something much worse inside. A senior officer vomited at the scene. Miss Iomi's tongue, fingers, and intestines hung from hooks inside the van, along with various other body parts belonging to 11 other girls. One was identified as an American pop singer who disappeared in 2008. Her uterus, ovaries, breasts were plastered and attached to her microphone stand. An unknown woman's entire torso was also found inside the van, with a fork and knife stuck into the organs that had revealed to be a clear white incision. December 20, 2009, Helsinki, Finland. An art collector was arrested in the act of buying a stolen statue. What at first went unnoticed was that the statue had been broken and glued back together. Inside, investigators found Miss Iomi's severed rib cage, complete with lungs, heart, and a part of the large intestine strung up to it. They were too damaged to possibly confirm what the cause of death was, but the medical examiner in charge was almost certain that it was due to drowning due to the tension of and ruptures in the lungs. December 21st, 2009, Amitri, Finland. The Russian border patrol detained 2 women under suspicion of being heroin carriers. One of them confessed right away and was jailed, but the other one pled that she was innocent until a cavity search was performed. Stashed inside her rectum, there was a huge bag of heroin, but that wasn't all. The bag was tied with human hair that also contained several teeth. There was already a small tear in the bag, leaking the drug into the woman's body. Whether that was intentional or not couldn't be determined, but she appeared genuinely clueless as to how they got there. December 18, 2014, Nagasaki, Japan. 3 years after the investigation, an Idol magazine clipping was sent to me by a reader. Reading it, chills ran down my spine. Sayoko's Amon's manager had been found dead. His suicide note was 300 pages long, detailing the gruesome torture of the singer that had taken place, and ended with the following words: Idol Services are releasing a brand new album by Sayoko Aome, recorded earlier this year. I have heard the lead single and it's beyond anything you can imagine. As my last will, I will reveal the secret behind the company. It isn't true that they sample voice recordings by singers. They tear out their vocal cords and attach them to machines. I know no one will take me seriously, but this is how it works. I've seen it with my own eyes and heard it with my own ears. I can no longer live with the guilt of knowing this and being unable to do anything to help the poor souls gain rest. There are hundreds of idols who have already died, but yet they perform live to thousand-headed audiences as surgical dummies lip-syncing to robots. Even with this confession, theories abound. Had he lost his mind? Was any of it true? Could such a diabolical technology truly exist? And if so, who are the masterminds behind it? Why are the singers murdered, dismembered, and sent to all the cities across the world? What purpose do the tents behind the main building serve? What were these singers that he mentioned? Could your favorite be already long since dead? Well, this one was quite interesting, Zavaway. Now, the concept itself. Now, let me just say from the beginning. Now, the beginning of the story was actually pretty ominous, and I have to admit, was pretty well done and well paced. Although there was some grammatical errors, and I did kind of have to change like some words, mostly because it had to fit with like the machinima that was playing inside the background. So basically, I kind of had to like change some words. Like the original color of the like person's vest was like velvet, and they didn't actually drive in a truck. They rode on camels. But let's just sidestep that point. That was my fault. But yeah, just like I said, I find the concept actually pretty endearing and actually pretty interesting and ominous. Just think about it. The singers that you're listening to right now could actually be dead, and that your singers could actually just be, I guess, vocal cords hooked up to machines. And you know what? Let me just get back to that. So anyways, there's also another thing that I also wanted to mention. Now, inside of most creepypastas, and all crappy pastas, gore is usually used as a crutch. It isn't actually used inside of a way that is constructive or actually enhances the story. It's just used to basically put the shit on the wall and just say, gore right there, we got gore, and just call it a fucking day. But with this creepypasta, it actually works. Even with some of the, like, you know, the, like, visual, like, things, basically the imagery inside the story actually being quite disgusting. In fact, that's why I put the, you know, warning there, because this shit got really not safe for work. But basically, that's just it about the gore. I found the gore not out of place, actually. I found it pretty fitting inside of a way. I mean, not exactly fitting, but, you know, it was there and it made sense to be there. But, you know, let's just get to the end, which I felt kind of tapered off inside of a way. I mean, okay, just really think about it. There are singers' vocal cords hooked up to machines, and they sing out of the machine. How would that even work exactly? Like, you need a lot more than someone's vocal cords in order to actually make even a fucking sound. You need the tongue, you need the teeth, sometimes you need the mouth and stuff like that. Like, you just can't have the people's vocal cords. Like, it wouldn't really make any sense out of that context. And I felt that kind of really ended the story and almost put, like, I swear to God, it almost put inside Creepypasta territory. But there were also some other things that kind of bugged me. Not only the grammatical errors, but also the kind of like the concept, and not really the concept, but more of the innate plot holes. Like, if your singers were actually, like, if your favorite musician was actually dead, wouldn't that really like, wouldn't the, like, managers actually come out and say something? Like, wouldn't someone just say that, hey, this Middle Eastern Saudi Arabian guy came out of nowhere and he kidnapped my work? So what kind of sense would that make in that way? I mean, some like a lot of musicians out here are really famous. People would know that something's up. But you know what? I actually like the story quite a bit. It almost tapered off and fell out of Creepypasta territory, but it managed to save itself with the solid beginning and the okay middle. But the end, it was kind of iffy. But you know what? What did you think about this Creepypasta? Do you think that it was perfect? Do you think that it was good? Do you think that it was bad? Write inside the comment section below. And I'll be seeing you guys later on the next video. And like, subscribe, do whatever. And I am out. Bye. The fuck kind of outro was that?